All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving into a classic, one of the oldest rivalries in the car world, pure, raw American muscle versus that precise, almost surgical German engineering. You know, it's a battle of philosophies, really, and we've got the perfect two champions to duke it out.
Okay, so let's just cut to the chase. This whole explainer, it really just boils down to this one question. Can a car with an absolutely absurd amount of horsepower, we're talking 810 here, take down a machine that is, for all intents and purposes, perfectly engineered? It's a question of brute force versus technical genius. Let's find out.
So first up, let's talk about our American contender. And this is not just any Mustang. Nope. This is the Dark Horse. And, well, its story starts with a little bit of a problem.
You heard that right. The team over at Edmunds got this brand new, top-of-the-line Mustang Dark Horse for their test fleet, and it had a pretty big issue. It just wasn't winning races. And for a car whose whole legacy is built on straight-line speed, yeah, that's a problem, a big one that needed a pretty extreme solution.
And what a solution it was. I mean, they didn't just tinker with it. They went all in. They grabbed a factory supercharger kit, bolted it on, and turned that already mean V8 into an absolute monster. We're talking 810 horsepower. That's got to solve the problem, right?
Well, about that. It's probably worth mentioning that all of this testing happened before that same supercharged engine had, let's call it a catastrophic failure. A little bit of foreshadowing, maybe? A sign that brute force isn't always the most reliable path. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so now let's meet the competition. From Germany, we have a car that really needs no introduction. But hey, it deserves one anyway, the Porsche 911 Carrera S. This car is the benchmark. It's the one everyone else is trying to beat.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The 911 isn't some fragile weekend toy. The reason it's a legend is because it does everything. It's comfortable enough to drive every day, but it also has that blistering performance that wins on the track. It's truly the whole package.
So, we have our two fighters. One's a grassroots hero, boosted to insane levels of power. The other is this prestigious icon, engineered to near perfection. Let's break down how they really stack up on paper.
So here it is, the tale of the tape. You've got the Mustang's supercharged 5-liter V8 versus the Porsche's turbocharged 3-liter flat 6. The power numbers? Wildly different. And so is the price, as you can see. But you know, the most interesting numbers here might just be the weight, and how that weight plays with all that power. Let's dig in. And let's start with the big one, the number everyone loves to talk about, horsepower. Wow, I mean, this chart just says it all. The Mustang is packing 810 horsepower. The Porsche? A mere 473. That's a huge, almost unbelievable advantage for the Ford. Looking at this alone, you'd think it's no contest.
But hold on, power is only half the story. See, when it comes to going fast, weight is your enemy. The Mustang, well, it's a heavy car, coming in at over 4,100 pounds. The Porsche, on the other hand, is a whole lot lighter, just a bit over 3,500 pounds.
And to put a really fine point on it, that's a 583-pound difference. Okay, what does that even mean? It's like the Mustang is carrying 3 extra adult passengers around everywhere it goes compared to the Porsche. That is a huge handicap for all that horsepower to overcome.
So this is where things get really interesting. How do these two big numbers, power and weight, actually work together? That brings us to the weight-to-power ratio. And this is where that Mustang's massive power advantage really seems to pay off. See, each one of its horsepower only has to move about 5 pounds of car. For the Porsche, that number's up near 7.5. On paper, this looks like a knockout punch for the Mustang. But can it actually use all that power?
And of course, we got to talk about the price. The supercharged Mustang, as tested, comes in right around 90 grand. The Porsche, nearly double that, at about $178,000. This really just perfectly sums up the difference in philosophy, doesn't it? The Mustang is all about making incredible speed accessible, while the Porsche is this premium, high-cost piece of incredible engineering.
So the Mustang has way more power and a better weight-to-power ratio. Should be an easy win, case closed, right? Well, not so fast. This is where the whole engineering part of German engineering really comes into play. It's about so much more than just the numbers on a spec sheet. Remember that weight-to-power ratio we were just looking at? It shows that the Mustang has a huge potential for acceleration. But, and this is a big but, potential doesn't always translate to reality, especially when you're trying to get 810 horsepower to stick to the pavement.
And this is where the Porsche's engineering comes alive. It's not about one giant number. It's about 1,000 little advantages all working together perfectly. It's got superior traction, which means it can actually use its power from a dead stop, while the Mustang might just be sitting there spinning its tires. Its dual-clutch transmission shifts faster than you can blink, and being lighter makes it way more agile. It's a total, cohesive performance package.
When you boil it all down, it really comes to this. The Mustang is like a heavyweight brawler just swinging for a knockout punch with all its might. The Porsche, though, it's the master technician, using precision, speed, and absolutely flawless form to win the fight. They're just two totally different ways to get to the same goal, going ridiculously fast.
So that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In this battle for speed, what actually wins the day? Is it the overwhelming raw power, that one big number you can brag about to your friends? Or is it the sum of 1,000 smaller, perfectly engineered parts all working in absolute harmony? That's really the question at the heart of this showdown. Thanks for joining me.